Bass headphones can lie to you. The wrong pair can exaggerate your low end, hide bad muting, and make a clean bass tone sound powerful when it's actually falling apart. Studio tracking, live monitoring, and private practice all demand different designs, and choosing by bass quality alone is where most players get it wrong. So, let's break down every type and reveal what each one is actually doing to your sound. Closed back headphones. Closed back headphones are the #1 go-to for bass players. It's difficult to practice, record, or perform bass without eventually needing a pair. By the 1960s and 1970s, studios used them to stop click tracks and guide mixes from bleeding into sensitive microphones. Their sealed ear cups isolate the driver's rear wave, forming a controlled air volume between the diaphragm, ear pad, and listener's head. Whether they use dynamic drivers like the focal Aziris, or planar magnetic transducers like the OD's LCD S20, the enclosure increases acoustic pressure and makes bass feel punchier and more immediate. That is why closed-back headphones are commonly used for practice, recording, tracking, commuting, and any situation where isolation matters. The ear pad seal is critical. Glasses, hair, worn pads, or poor positioning can create micro-leaks that weaken sub-bass. Closed-backs also provide passive attenuation, helping expose fret buzz, muting errors, uneven attack, and timing problems. Internal reflections may create cup resonance and a narrower soundstage, but their isolation and low-frequency impact make them highly practical for bass monitoring. Open-back headphones. The first commercially successful open-back headphones was the Sennheiser HD414, released in 1968. Its lightweight frame, foam pads, and ventilated cups popularized a more spacious listening experience. Open-backs use vents or grills that let the driver's rear wave escape. This lowers cup pressure, reduces internal resonance, and widens the stereo image. For bass lovers, the biggest advantage is perspective, while closed-back headphones often emphasize impact and isolation. Open backs make it easier to hear how the bass sits inside a complete mix. With less trapped air, bass may feel lighter, but decay, masking, and note separation become easier to judge. Dynamic drivers emphasize openness, while planar magnetic designs can offer tighter, low-frequency control. Impedance and sensitivity matter because some models require amplification. The trade-off is leakage, poor isolation, and microphone bleed. Universal in-ear monitors. Although musicians experimented with in-ear monitoring before then, universal in-ear monitors became far more common during the 1990s and 2000s. As touring musicians search for more consistent monitoring solutions. Universal IEMs use replaceable silicone or foam tips to create an acoustic seal inside the ear canal. That seal is critical because even a small leak can collapse sub-bass response and reduce isolation. Once fitted correctly, models such as the Shure SE215, Sennheiser IE100 Pro, and Weston Pro X30 can deliver a controlled monitor mix with strong bass definition. Instead of competing with floor wedges, drum bleed, and loud amplifiers, the bassist receives bass, kick, vocals, click, and backing tracks directly in the ears. Different models use dynamic drivers, balanced amateur drivers, or multi-driver crossovers to divide the frequency spectrum. Their portability, lower cost, and interchangeable tips make universal IEMs a practical entry point into professional monitoring. Custom molded in-ear monitors. No two ears are exactly alike, and custom molded in-ear monitors were designed to solve that fit problem. Each earpiece is built from an impression or digital scan of the user's ear canal, creating a fit that universal models can only approximate.
So I'm going to go ahead and try to push it up into all the little cavities.
Because the shell seats at the same depth and angle each time, the acoustic seal and driver to eardrum geometry remain consistent. That matters for bass, since even a small leak can reduce sub-bass pressure and alter the monitor's frequency response. The custom fit improves passive isolation, reducing drum bleed, crowd noise, and amplifier spill. This can make lower listening levels practical while preserving detail. During long rehearsals on tours, the earpieces are less likely to shift, loosen, or break the seal, giving bass players a stable mix they can trust from one performance to the next. Now here's where things start getting a little more technical. Open the shell of an IEM and you'll find the component responsible for creating every sound you hear. It's called a driver, and the way manufacturers use it has become one of the biggest talking points in the world of personal audio. We have single driver IEMs. In a single driver IEM, one driver is responsible for reproducing the entire frequency range, from the deepest bass notes to the highest treble frequencies. That might sound like a lot of work for one tiny component, and it is. Yet single driver designs have remained popular because of their simplicity. Since every frequency comes from the same source, the sound often feels cohesive and natural. There are no crossover networks dividing frequencies between multiple drivers, and no risk of different drivers blending poorly together. This approach is especially common in entry-level and mid-range IEMs because it keeps manufacturing costs lower while still providing reliable performance. Singers, podcasters, and casual listeners often find that a well-designed single-driver monitor delivers everything they need without unnecessary complexity. Low-end lovers may notice some limitations when the music becomes demanding. Deep bass frequencies require significant driver movement, and asking one driver to handle bass, mids, and highs simultaneously can sometimes reduce the sense of separation compared to more advanced designs. Complex mixes may feel slightly more congested when a lot is happening at once. Even so, a good single driver IEM should never be dismissed simply because it has fewer components. Sound quality depends far more on tuning, engineering, and implementation than driver count alone. Many excellent monitors prove that one well-designed driver can still deliver an enjoyable and highly musical listening experience. Dual driver IEMs. A dual driver IEM takes a more specialized approach than a single driver design. Instead of one driver handling the entire frequency range, two drivers share the workload. In most cases, one focuses on the low frequencies while the other handles the mids and highs. That division allows each driver to work more efficiently. Bass notes often sound cleaner and more controlled, while vocals and higher frequency instruments have their own space in the mix. The improvement may not be dramatic on simple recordings, but it becomes much more noticeable when multiple instruments are playing at the same time. This is one reason dual driver models became popular among performing musicians. A busy monitor mix can quickly become crowded, especially when drums, vocals, guitars, and backing tracks are all competing for attention. Splitting the frequency range between two drivers helps keep those elements more organized and easier to follow. Dual driver IEMs also occupy an attractive middle ground. They offer better separation than most single driver designs without reaching the price of premium multi-driver systems. For many listeners, they represent the first meaningful step into dedicated frequency handling, delivering a balance of clarity, performance, and value that has kept them relevant for years. Triple driver IEMs. Many musicians consider triple driver IEMs the sweet spot between performance and cost. Rather than dividing the frequency range into two sections, a triple driver design typically assigns separate drivers to the lows, mids, and highs. Each driver has a more focused role, allowing it to reproduce its portion of the spectrum with greater precision. The benefit becomes apparent when listening to complex mixes. Bass frequencies have their own dedicated driver, helping low notes retain their weight and definition without interfering with vocals or higher frequency instruments. At the same time, the mids remain clear and the treble has more room to breathe. This added separation can make a monitor mix feel more organized and easier to navigate. Instead of hearing a wall of sound, individual elements become easier to identify, whether that's the bass line, kick, drum, click, track, or lead vocal. Interestingly, the majority of working musicians stop here. While higher driver counts exist, triple driver IEMs often provide enough detail, clarity, and frequency separation for professional use. That balance has made them one of the most popular configurations in the IEM market. For listeners seeking stronger low-end control and improved overall definition, triple driver designs are often where dedicated monitoring starts to feel truly professional. Multi-driver IEMs. Once manufacturers moved beyond three drivers, the goal shifted from simply separating lows, mids, and highs to dividing the frequency spectrum into increasingly specialized sections. Multi-driver IEMs can contain 4, 6, 10, 8, or even more drivers, with each one responsible for a narrower range of frequencies. The idea is straightforward. When individual drivers have less work to do, they can focus more precisely on their assigned frequencies. A dedicated driver might handle sub-bass, another low mids, another upper mids, while others reproduce various treble ranges. This can improve detail, separation, and overall clarity, especially in dense recordings. However, driver count alone doesn't determine sound quality. A well-tuned 4-driver IEM can easily outperform a poorly designed model with twice as many drivers. The crossover network driver integration and overall tuning play a much bigger role than the number printed on the box. That's why experienced musicians and audio enthusiasts rarely shop by driver count alone. They focus on how the monitor actually sounds. When engineered properly, multi-driver IEMs can deliver remarkable detail and instrument separation, making them a popular choice for listeners who want to hear every layer of a mix without sacrificing low-end definition. Hybrid driver IEMs. Hybrid IEMs are developed to combine the strengths of different driver technologies into a single monitor. Rather than relying entirely on one type of driver, a hybrid design typically pairs a dynamic driver with one or more balanced armature drivers, allowing each technology to do what it does best. The dynamic driver usually handles the low frequencies because it moves more air than a balanced armature. It often produces bass that feels fuller, deeper, and more natural. This is one reason dynamic drivers have remained popular in both headphones and loudspeakers for decades. Balanced armature drivers can take care of the mids and highs. Originally developed for hearing aids, these drivers are extremely small, efficient, and capable of reproducing fine details with impressive accuracy. They excel at revealing vocals, cymbals, and subtle textures within a mix. Combining both technologies sounds like the perfect solution, but it creates a new challenge. The different drivers must blend together seamlessly. If the crossover and tuning are poorly executed, the sound can feel disconnected, with the bass and upper frequencies seeming to come from different places. When engineered properly, however, hybrid IEMs can offer the best of both worlds, the low-end authority of a dynamic driver and the clarity of balanced armatures. That combination has made them one of the fastest-growing categories in the IEM market. Now there's wireless headphones and IEMs. Every wired monitoring system comes with the same restriction. You're attached to it. Whether you're practicing at home, rehearsing with a band, or performing on stage, a wire can restrict movement and become one more thing to think about. Wireless systems are developed to solve that problem while still delivering a reliable listening experience. Not all wireless systems work the same way. Consumer Bluetooth headphones focus on convenience, making them ideal for casual listening and everyday use. The trade-off is latency, the slight delay between the signal being transmitted and the sound reaching your ears. While that may not matter for listening to music, it can become noticeable when playing an instrument in real time. Professional wireless IEM systems are designed differently. Instead of Bluetooth, they use dedicated transmitters and body pack receivers built specifically for live performance. These systems prioritize low latency, stable connections, and consistent audio quality, allowing performers to move freely without losing their monitor mix. Many listeners are surprised by how well modern wireless systems preserve bass response.
What you know.
First off,
Wow, the bass is good.
you claim to be a player, but
A quality setup can still deliver the punch, depth, and low-end detail needed for bass-heavy music, while giving users complete freedom of movement. That combination of mobility, reliability, and strong sound quality has made wireless monitoring a standard part of countless modern stage productions. Tactile bass shakers. Tactile bass shakers occupy a unique place in the audio world because they don't actually produce sound. Instead, they convert low-frequency signals into physical vibration. They're commonly mounted beneath chairs, drum thrones, platforms, or performance risers, allowing users to feel the bass rather than hear it. Their popularity grew alongside the rise of in-ear monitoring. As more musicians moved away from loud stage wedges and amplifiers, many discovered that something felt different. The monitor mix was clearer than ever, yet the physical sensation of standing near a bass cabinet had disappeared. That missing sensation is exactly what a bass shaker is designed to restore. When low frequencies pass through the device, vibrations travel through the seat or platform, recreating some of the impact normally associated with a large speaker system. But notes feel more alive, kick drums carry greater weight, and the rhythm section becomes easier to connect with physically. Some users describe the experience as a bridge between traditional amplification and modern in-ear monitoring. The clarity of an IEM system remains intact, while the body once again feels the movement of the low end. For anyone who believes bass should be felt as much as heard, tactile shakers offer a remarkably effective solution.